Hey friends, good to be with you again for Table Talk. I'm grateful for the opportunity to spend a few minutes with you in God's Word together. Last Wednesday we began a journey through the Psalms of Ascent, those 15 songs for the road for pilgrims making their way to Jerusalem, which will serve us just as well on our long obedience of discipleship. Since Pastor Jenna has already covered the ground of Psalm 121, we're going to fare forward to Psalm 122. So feel free to grab a Bible and join along with me. The psalmist writes, "I was glad when they said to me, 'Let us go to the house of the Lord.' Our feet have been standing within your gates, O Jerusalem." Psalm 122 gives us the image of happy pilgrims making their way to a cherished destination, what George Herbert calls gladness of the best. And as I read these opening lines, I'm reminded of many a Boersma family road trip we'd embark on right around this time of year, those annual pilgrimages to the Promised Land, which for us was Anna Maria Island, Florida. I'll always remember the feeling of getting out of the car after a 20-hour trek through the night, the feel of the Florida sunshine on the skin and the scent of the sea breeze and all the glory of spring break that awaited us. And Psalm 122 gives us something of this. It makes clear the gladness and good pleasure of the people of God on their way to give thanks to the name of the Lord and to commemorate God's faithfulness from generation to generation. But then there's a shift in Psalm 122 to thrones of judgment, the thrones of the house of David. Even when the glad pilgrims reach the great city, all is not well. Jesus' act of cleansing the temple gives us some solid evidence of that. Things are not the way they're supposed to be. And we've all experienced variations of this during the last few weeks with the pandemic upon us, that all is not well. Disappointment for students, sports careers cut short, stress over jobs, concern for the vulnerable and for those on the front lines. And all of this points us to the psalmist's prayer for peace, back to Psalm 122. Peace that is cosmic in scope, universal flourishing, wholeness, and delight, gladness of the best. 3 times in 4 verses, the psalmist longs for peace, and only God can accomplish this. The Apostle Paul says, through Christ, God reconciled to himself all things, making peace by the blood of the cross. This Holy Week, we make our journey with Jesus to the cross. Jesus who wept over Jerusalem, who offered his body and blood, and who, for the joy that was set before him, endured the cross for your sake and for my sake and for the salvation of the world. And for that reason, we can, with the psalmist, say, I was glad when they said to me, let us go to the house of the Lord to give thanks to the name of the Lord who made peace by the blood of the cross. The peace of Christ be with you this Holy Week, and thanks for dropping in.